Hi everybody, this is Lex from Kovi. We are here at Integrate, first day. We are here also with a new episode of Azure on Air, and with me I have Dan Boss from Valorem Reply, also proud Platinum sponsor. Is Platinum?
Platinum, yes.
Platinum sponsor of the event. Welcome.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
In the podcast.
Thank you.
Maybe you can introduce yourself a little bit.
Yeah, sure. So Dan Bass, I've been with Reply for just over a year. Before that, I'd spent my career working through either software engineering and manufacturing, and then kind of grew into sort of head of engineering roles, typically helping businesses to scale. I've been fortunate enough to be on both sort of business side, thinking from a product perspective, how to grow and scale products that we can sell, and thinking about revenue, etc. But also from an engineering perspective, best practices and how you create environments where you have great teams that solve great problems.
Yeah. What platforms have you been working?
So I come from a .NET background. Everything I've done has been Microsoft.
Yeah.
More just as a way that I think my path naturally followed that route. So started off in C++, and then the whole .NET 1.0 came around in whatever 2000. I was starting to adopt that. I can always remember I was building an app in C++, fresh out of university, for a hand scanner for use in like military. Yeah. And it took me about 2 or 3 months. Then .NET came along with the CE framework, did the same thing in about a week. So it just showed you the progression of technology and like how quickly things are evolving. And even back then, like small changes, were helping us to develop much faster. So
actually, that's also one of the things you also currently see with the move from BizTalk on-premise to Azure, right?
Yes.
I mean, the time to market
so much quicker.
So much quicker
100%.
Compared to then.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh my God, .NET 1.0. That was long ago.
And then no one took it seriously until 1.1, really, was it? And
then, exactly. That was somewhere back in 2000, right?
Yeah,
I think.
It was.
Yeah. Oh my God, we've certainly come a long way.
Yes, definitely.
Currently, what's your current role?
I'm currently heading up the integration and data business unit that's a part of Valorem Reply. So working with all our customers on either BizTalk, helping them to migrate to Azure integration services. So thinking obviously logic apps and the reason for being here. Data is also a very big part of what we do as well. So we're very keen on looking at the whole landscape of how that's changing and evolving with Fabric as well. And then likewise, I work alongside teams that support with security platforms, helping with migrations of data, that sort of thing as well.
Okay, that sounds great. Yeah, that sounds great. Today's session you wanted to talk about integration platforms and kind of an opinion, quite of a statement that those platforms are more than just a piece of middleware. How did you come to the topic, and what are the thoughts you have around it?
So I'm sure lots of integration developers could empathize with this, but I found that when I was doing integration way back when, early 2000s, and kind of carry on throughout the career, you were very much a small cog in a bigger wheel. So you weren't necessarily a part of the decisions to either procure software, you weren't necessarily involved in how the software is being run, you weren't sure about why things were connecting the way they were. But within an integration space, you tend to be back office, not really considered that much. You're just hooking things together. I think actually we undervalue the role that we play within businesses. So in particular, when I look at some of the challenges we face, and wearing a data hat for a second, I think that the problems are quite similar. So data's in a mess at the moment. We know across lots of organizations, they're struggling with data quality. They're not sure where the data sits. You might have data which is either duplicated or missing. We're not quite sure who owns the data. There's a lot of governance questions that we've got at the moment. And of course, everyone's got spreadsheets and no one really knows what's in the spreadsheets. When I look across the integration, there's lots of issues and problems that you could say actually are quite similar. So we're thinking about if people have got lots of point-to-point systems, they typically end up in a mess and we have to try and figure that out. If we're trying to figure out who owns the systems and the language they talk, again, that's a governance kind of approach and how we figure that out as well. And so I can't help thinking in the parallels about how we solve those problems. When you look at a good integration platform, it will have a semantic model at the heart of it, a canonical model which describes really what the organization is about. And for me, that's really important because actually when you're trying to solve a data issue, you end up with pretty much the same thing. You need to figure out how to build a schematic model about how the organization works. We're doing it from different approaches, but we're in fact solving the same problem.
Yeah.
If you think about the people aspect, if you're stuck in the heart, you often have to find that in order for you to come to a common understanding of what a field is, say a customer, even something as basic as that, you need to have 3 or 4 departments agreeing on what that is. So you're solving that problem when you're in the integration space.
Yeah.
You have to solve that problem in the data space. So actually, if we just think about middleware for a second, rather than just being as this thing that is stuck in the middle, leveraging the other bits and making other things work better, actually we've got an opportunity to see where actually we've solved a lot of the whole hard problems for a different domain in data, that actually if we solve those problems in that space, I think we could actually help data to really flourish, because ultimately all the talk at the moment is about AI. I think data is the fuel to AI.
Yeah.
And so actually from a middleware integration perspective, if we can solve that problem for them, then I think that just unlocks a whole bunch of business value and benefit.
Yeah, that's very true. Just like you said, right? I mean, when you're talking about a customer or an order or whatever, within an organization,
Yes.
once everybody is aware of the definition of such an entity, just like you said, the quality of the data will be better, and that gives much added value, because you can use AI indeed, just hit that data and come to insights which you otherwise would not have get.
Exactly, yeah. And I think it's nothing new. So I mean, Greg Young's been talking about event stores and event streams for the last sort of 15, 20 years. The idea that within a closed, I guess, architecture system, you're storing your events, and that gives you effectively an accounting journal of everything that's happening in your organization. So if you transcribe that actually to outside of just one single app or one single set of services, microservices, but actually you're thinking enterprise across, your ERP systems to CRM systems to what your commercial teams might be using, to a bunch of spreadsheets. If you're solving that problem in the integration space, again, I think those same rules apply.
Yeah.
So you end up with a forward read-only view of exactly what's happening across your organization. That gives you a whole bunch of benefit. Yeah. We work a lot with universities at the moment, and a lot of that is integrating with different student platforms. And so having a simple way of saying, actually, we're going to log all the changes that are happening across all your students in one common place in a format we've already decided, I think just gives them so much richer data that they already know they can trust. We're solving the quality issue. We're already solving the idea about what that definition is. So it just, frees up a lot for us.
Yeah, and even technically, it will be beneficial, right?
Yes, exactly.
I mean, it's the old stuff, but when I was still developing in BizTalk, you also saw customers that defined a CDM for all kinds of entities.
Yes.
So in the middle, BizTalk was only working with a CDM.
Yeah.
So no custom formats from any surrounding systems.
Exactly.
Everything in the same format, and that reduces development effort, of course.
And I think if you have a look in particular, if you are storing that state of your CDM constantly into a data store, so say Fabric, for example, I think you're then starting to leverage all of the advances that are happening across Fabric. So we think about Copilot agents, for example. That's just an area that's growing really fast. Being able to interrogate your data just through some prompts and natural language just feels like really, really powerful. So it gives them a lot.
Well, this kind of concepts, to what extent do you think this is already realistic to achieve? Indeed, can you already go to a university, stream all the logging data to a common database, or storage at least, and put AI on top of it and get some useful outputs? Is that
so? I think if you've already got and solved all the hard problems within integration, then really the effort is small. Like we can literally start quite quickly. We're even hearing about event streaming into Fabric today. Yeah. So the idea that you could actually start to send the events that you want from even just a small subdomain. It doesn't have to be all your systems. Just start with something small, start piping them off and say, actually, we're going to build you an agent which we can stick in Teams, a little Copilot. That whole process and POC should be very, very trivial. Because actually the way that we approach trying to solve the data problems, and I see many businesses and solutions architects trying to solve this problem, is the same way we've always tried to solve problems, and that's to go big, have a massive initiative, think about how we're going to solve everything, And actually, if you've already got all the information passing through a system, you could start a proof of concept and actually say, you know what, we could get 90% of the data we need very, very quickly. We've already got an integration platform we invested in. Let's just start with that.
Yeah.
You don't need to necessarily think about what other big provider you're going to choose or how you're going to migrate your data, or we're speaking to people that might have 2 or 3 different operational databases that are all floating around and they're trying to figure out what to do with. Well, if we can provide an integration platform over the top, you start to naturally ingest that data as a result of what you're doing. So I think,
Yeah, and that's a good model anyway, right? You start small, learn, and then grow, expand and grow.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's very nice. Yeah, so like I said, at the moment, this is already something that you're doing. Also, is it already possible to stream to, what did you say, to events?
Fabric. So if we think about a natural workflow within Logic Apps, so you would have a look at your infrastructure platform, you would have a whole bunch of workflows. And for us to start, you would simply start with saying, actually, we want an off-ramp from one of those workflows that we think will be valuable. We think the information that could be something that the end user could use, put that into one lake, and then straight away you've got opportunity to leverage, like I said, the AI and all the tools that come with it. It seems like a no-brainer from my perspective. So for us, the POCs, for us, the question is going to be, how do we find the people that find that data valuable, and how do we identify what that data is? Because I think if we try to tackle everything, if we need to get everyone on board, again, you'll end up in the same position. We've got to move it.
Exactly.
But if you can find out the customers that you're working with, they might not necessarily be the direct ones, but they will know someone. Or if you can knock up a simple proof of concept or proof of value that can say, actually, look, we can give you an agent or give you all this information. Would that be something you could do? Then yes, then let's do that. So I think it's our responsibility within the whole data is a mess. We're in a unique position to be able to help them to solve that problem, because it is really, really hard to solve.
That is a big issue. Yeah. Back in the days, and we're talking about the 19th, I worked at a hospital in the Netherlands, and people could build their own Access databases, for example, Microsoft Office Access databases. And that was not a very good decision from a data information perspective, because before you know it, you have something a little bit handy, and you have a kind of a database that becomes increasingly important to specific departments, while they are not really part of the actual information strategy of the organization. But still, the department or the IT department or the company, organization actually, still has to do with it. And that can be really,
and
a big issue.
I think we've learned, but I'm still concerned about the citizen development idea of Power Apps. And if you can store all your data in SharePoint lists, you're actually going to propagate and make the problem worse. Where actually, if you don't have the right governance in place to start with, you'll just end up making that. It might feel like a short-term solution, but you're going to make that quite a tricky problem.
True.
So
and the same applies indeed to the Excel sheets and so on.
Exactly.
Luckily, in itself, I was quite afraid that indeed also with Power Apps need something similar like with those Access databases and Excel sheets would happen. But at least governance is better than
it feels like people
what it was back then.
Exactly.
Cool. Then, you as a partner, as you said, you have a lot of customers in higher education. Are you working on maybe specific products or services
within higher education?
With this purpose?
The higher education sector is one of the sectors that's facing the biggest struggles at the moment with things. If you think about funding. It's getting harder and harder to get the funding for universities. They don't have the money to spend.
No.
They're typically trying to figure out how to embrace all the new adoptions of technology that are coming along. But like with everyone else, has got old systems and legacy. So I think for us, the maturity curve that we're taking them through is actually how do you start to understand and put in place a decent integration platform to start with, so that you do understand your students' behaviors more. Because actually, if they understand their students more, they understand the engagement of the students, they're more likely to stay in the courses, they're more likely to produce better results. And that's a self-perpetuating idea. If you get good student experiences, that will then bring in more students, etc. For them, they're really struggling at the moment, because There's so much competition. People are questioning whether universities are worth it anymore. So the rise of things like apprenticeships, etc. So for us, it's just how do we help them to bring all the information together, to get their systems talking well and just make them more effective and more efficient.
Yeah. That's a good start anyway, right? Yeah. Okay. Well, I don't know. I think we're running out of time.
Yes,
I don't know if there are any key takeaways, anything else you would like to mention about.
So I would just say that my maths professor when I was at university, he came in and he told us off once because we just learned something in physics, but hadn't applied it in the maths. And he's like, don't be stupid. If you learn to solve the problem in one place, you can take that and solve it in other places. And so that for me is just this is just one example, but let's not get constrained in saying, oh, we're just in integration. I think there's so many opportunities that are coming. Every single diagram I've seen recently of either MCP architectures or thinking about data fabric, etc., has got integration kind of at the base. It needs to be there. So it is literally the glue that holds everything together. And with that, I think we've got an opportunity to help shape and drive and solve the other business problems that people are seeing.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah, well, I think that's a good summary, right? Yeah, and with all the technology just going just so fast, within a couple of years, indeed, this kind of stuff just becomes reality. So
that's good.
Exciting times.
Exactly. Well. Yeah, very good. Looking forward to seeing what's next.
Exactly. Well, thanks for your time.
Thank you very much for having me.
Well,
appreciate it.
You're very welcome.
Excellent.
And to our audience, this was another episode of Azure on Air, and we hope to see you in the next one.